Welcome back, everybody, to the Bourbon, Buzzed, and Ballin podcast. We are your hosts, Kolby and Dut, and we are here with episode 11.
Already, number 11.
They're rolling.
Flies when you're having fun.
They're rolling. We got a good episode tonight. We, of course, are going to open and toast our home run guys.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little Aaron Judge and Pujols.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got some hot topics tonight we want to talk about. We got to talk about the Braves sweeping of the Mets. That's big news for most of us here in the South. We're going to talk about the deadly soccer match in Indonesia, and of course, we're gonna talk again about some more real good dudes in the women's soccer league, the WSNL.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, more dirt bags to talk about. We also want to touch a little bit on J.J. Watt. And, of course, our guy, Tua. We got to talk a little Tua. And then we're going to finish with NFL Week 4.
Week 4 in the NFL, Week 5 in college.
Yeah. And then we're going to finish with another list of sorts.
Yeah, another little fun topic. And it was actually harder to do than I actually thought it was going to be. But we tried to come up with a top 10 list. I cheated a little bit, did a 10 plus 1, and a whole lot of honorable mentions. But we're going to talk about our favorite sports movies of all time.
Should be an interesting topic for sure. But, yeah, it was fun. It was interesting trying to pack all of my favorite movies into a concise list of 10. Yeah. But, we'll...
Then I would think of another one. I'm like, where am I going to stick this one?
So, we'll have fun with that.
All right, well, let's just get right into it, and let's start with our opening toast.
Sweet.
Like Doug mentioned, Aaron Judge did tie Roger Maris. And he hit his 61st home run. He's still stuck on 61. He's got 3 games left to try, and he needs one more home run to break the record, the Yankees record and the AL home run record. And he also has slipped behind in the Triple Crown race.
Oh yeah.
His batting average is .311. The kid from Minnesota, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, but anyway, he's at .315. So he's .004.
I can't believe we're talking about .315 batting averages.
Leading
That's
the
just crazy.
And then I think the next closest to these two is Bogarts at like .305.
Yeah.
So I mean, they just
you can tell that the 61, the chase of Roger Maris has been a lot of stress
on him.
Yeah, for sure. And then of course we got to give the man, Albert Pujols.
We've shown him love every week. We might as well show him some more love today. Because
he connected on 702,
so he
01 and 02.
He tied a Yankee legend. So both of them have tied Yankee legends.
He's tied a baseball legend.
Yeah, well,
whenever you get mentioned with the Sultan of SWAT, I don't know, whichever, it'd be a good discussion one of these days for us to sit down and discuss who is the home run king. Because that is an interesting discussion.
Yeah, there's many different ways you could look at that.
Yeah. But, so anyway, he tied
Ruth. So that's a tremendous accomplishment.
That's it. Yep.
Let's raise our glasses to Aaron Judge and Albert Pujols. Cheers, guys.
Boys, men. That's good, man.
What you sipping on tonight?
I am sipping on Basil Hayden Toast.
Okay. Yeah, we rated that one of our earlier episodes.
We did. I don't think it fared too well.
No, I think we gave it a 2, if I remember correctly.
I'm going to give it a 2 again. Tonight, it's a little... it's just not smooth, man. There's just nothing smooth about it. And I just don't even... There's so many more... what's the price point? Like 50, isn't it?
Yeah.
I totally would... I would almost venture into a brown bag situation for $50.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even use it. Just doesn't have...
It was just under 50 because we had given it $2 signs, so it wasn't in the triple dollar sign category.
Well, I think the demand from your friends on toast is probably pretty high, but for my taste, my palate, it's just not good.
Right.
How about you? What you got?
I am actually sipping on one we haven't rated yet. I was just going back through the notes to see if we had rated it because I couldn't remember if we'd rated it or not. But it's Rabbit Hole, the Cave Hill version of the Rabbit Hole, which is basically their Kentucky small batch straight. But it's a real good, smooth. It's one of my son's favorites.
It's got good color.
Yeah, it does. It's got a nice dark color to it. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. So that was one of the ones I mentioned on our bucket list. That when we go back, I want to go to the Rabbit Hole Distillery.
Yeah, I'm always down with a bourbon tour.
Yeah, you don't need your arm twisted, do you?
Nah.
All right, well, let's. We've done the toast. Let's come in hot.
Let's do it.
It didn't change.
Screen technical difficulty.
All right, we're coming in hot, and like you mentioned, the Bravos.
We own the Mets, man.
I'm telling you.
I say we. Braves are my team, I guess, but I'm not going to jump on that wagon like I'm a diehard Braves fan.
Right.
But I am a Braves fan when it comes playoff time. I'm gonna follow the Braves, but I'm gonna watch playoff baseball. But the Braves just own. I would hate to be a Mets fan, to be honest with you. I've seen so many posts from Mets fans.
They ran the Mets down and took that division from them.
Yeah, they did.
The Mets had a huge lead in that division,
and I think the Mets fans knew it. They knew it was going to happen.
Coming.
And I don't even know if the Mets are going to get out of the first round of the playoffs, because I think they're going to match up with the Padres. Now I know we're going to have a
we'll talk about that next week.
Point,
we'll go over all the matchups next week and who's got who and who we like in the matchups. But of course, both of those teams are going to be a hard team to handle, hard out for anybody. Between them two, of course, I still like the Dodgers. In the NL.
Yeah, you can't. How can you not? That offense.
We'll get in. We'll discuss baseball next week when we know what the matchups are.
Sneak preview.
A little teaser.
Yep.
All right, and you mentioned there was a few negative things that happened over the weekend. There was a soccer match in Indonesia. There's a big rivalry, and the one team basically owned the other team. And the team they had lost 20 straight years, and they won 3-2. So all their fans started mobbing the field,
right?
And then you had all these, I don't know if it was military or police or whatever it was,
local.
But coming out with the riot gear, and they're hitting people, and people are getting trampled,
tear gas,
and then I think it spilled off of the field and out into the streets, and the stadium was trashed. The town was trashed, and last I heard, about 170 people died in this ruckus. Just trying to celebrate, your team. It shows you how passionate people are about their sports teams.
Yeah.
Which it's good to be passionate, but there's also you got to draw a line somewhere.
Sure. That's just to not take away from the tragedy, but do you know what the number one sport is in Indonesia?
Oh, I'm sure it's soccer.
No, it's badminton.
Oh, really?
Badminton's the number one sport in Indonesia.
Well, I bet there wouldn't be 170 people charging the field after a badminton match.
I can't imagine you wouldn't be ready for the fans storming the field.
Well, I think they were, because, like I said, all the military in riot gear. So it was almost
Did you imagine, say Kentucky beating us in football, and the Kentucky fans storming the field, and their local police tear gassing them and beating them? It's just a different approach, obviously.
Right.
But that's tragic no matter how you look at it.
Nobody should charge the field after a game.
No.
It's
dangerous for everybody.
Yeah, nothing good can happen. Yeah. Last weekend when who was it? Texas Tech that beat Texas, and their fans charged the field. And there's a video of one of the Texas Tech fans knocking down one of the Texas players from behind.
Yeah,
just running and just shoving him to the ground.
It's really unsafe, especially unsafe for the players.
Yeah,
because they're high profile.
Yeah, and they're just trying to get back to the locker room, and there's no need for it.
Nope.
Also, what there's no need for is any more pieces of shit scumbags out there that don't know how to treat women. People in general, but in this case, it's dealing with women.
Yeah,
and it's these coaches in the Women's National Soccer League that think that they can, get away with stuff. Invite the players up to their rooms, and
I honestly don't know what they think anymore these days. It's a different world. It's a different world.
It is.
And everything you do in dark comes to light.
Well, and they're saying that this has been allowed. It actually goes down into like the lower leagues, like into little leagues, and where it's become systematic throughout all of women's soccer, where it's just kind of a given that you're going to be pressured if you want playing time into having to, do things, and there's just no room for that. There's no place for that.
No.
So I'm tired of, and we might need to quit talking about it because I'm tired of every week having to.
I know it seems like it's always a piece of our podcast.
Yeah. I mean it's current, and we want to provide current information.
I think it's good because I heard of this, but I really didn't look at it until you started talking about it. And to be honest with you, I think it's important for us to talk about and bring it out, even for the listeners to at least because not everyone has time to put together a podcast and research these topics that might be of interest.
Yeah.
And not only are they of interest, they also help educate. So, I mean, if we just do like a little piece of education.
A lot of this information is not even out there yet because it is so new. I mean, it was just breaking earlier today. So, there's more for us to find out about it. But it's a shame.
It is a shame. Sad.
People get a little bit of power and they don't know how to handle it. They abuse it.
No, sad.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to a couple of NFL players that had to deal with some things over this weekend. So J.J. Watt went into AFib last week and had to actually have his heart shocked back into rhythm. And then he turns around and plays this weekend. 2 days later,
the dude died. The dude died and still played a football game.
Yeah. So apparently, they're also expecting a baby. So they've been doing ultrasounds, listen to the baby's heart, and then it turned out that they had to listen to JJ's because he was having an irregular heartbeat, and diagnosed him with AFib. And now supposedly if you monitor it and pay attention, there's no additional risk. So that's why they say once you get that shock and get it back in rhythm, you're good within 24 hours to go back out and do whatever. So
man, he's dealt with a lot, hasn't he?
He has. He's been through
to be probably on the Mount Rushmore of defensive linemen / end.
Yeah, he's been a good one.
He's dealt with a lot of health issues in the last 5 years.
I think he took a lot of it out on Baker this weekend. He
did.
He kept swatting that football back into Baker's face. But we wish JJ. He seems like a stand-up guy, and he's always donating to charities and stuff like that. So I hope this he can manage this the rest of his life and live.
Yeah, I mean, I look for him to retire soon.
He's like you said, he's dealt with
so much health issues.
Right.
For
and
sure.
Now it's starting to affect his brother some too, over in Pittsburgh. Hopefully everything works out for the Watt family. And then, of course, the biggest news coming out related to the NFL this weekend was Tua's concussion. It started on Sunday in the Bills game and we even mentioned it on the podcast. I said it looked like he got punched in the face by Mike Tyson. Got up all wobbly. You could see him shaking his head like he was trying to get the cobwebs out. And so they did take him back to have him evaluated for concussion, but the independent doctor said no, he's fine. He's good to go, and they said it was the wobbly was from a back injury that he had sustained earlier in the game. So then let's fast forward to Thursday night. So the Dolphins were on a short week. They had to play Sunday and then turn around and play Thursday night against the Bengals. Well, supposedly they checked Tua every day during the week for any symptoms, and he wasn't showing any. And they cleared him to play again on Thursday. And first big hit, boom, he gets knocked unconscious. He goes into the fencer's pose with his fingers, and knocked out again with a concussion. And they've already ruled him out for Sunday's game. So he won't be playing this Sunday, even though the first thing he asked Coach was, when am I going to be cleared to play again?
No, I mean, that's Tua. Yeah, that's Tua that everybody that we know for sure, being Alabama fans. But it all started in the Bills game with the improper diagnosis. Yeah, it was obvious it was neurological.
Yeah. So that UNC was fired because he actually is he represents the Players Association.
Right. He's not associated with the Dolphins.
Right. So, that the Players Association wanted this independent doctor to make sure that this guy was looking out for the best interest, or woman is looking out for the best interest of the player. Because, the team's usually going to be looking out for the team and for winning. But this was supposed to be in place to protect the players, and it failed miserably in this case.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, in watching all the aftermath, I gained a lot of appreciation for the coach.
McDaniel?
Yeah.
Well, he's still catching some heat, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, he should catch some heat, but, his press conference seemed really sincere.
Yeah. I think he truly cares about the players.
Sure.
And I think, he was basing it on the information he was given.
Yeah, exactly. And basing it on Tua.
And he's being...
Because Tua wanted to be in the game.
And he's being very transparent. I mean, Tua led him to victory in that game.
Sure.
So, I mean, they lose that game without Tua. But he's been very transparent. He's, they're cooperating with with the ongoing investigation that the Players Association initiated to see what all went wrong. So, like I said, the first thing they did was fire the independent doctor. They have also agreed to modify the concussion protocol. And one of the modifications is going to be if a player displays gross motor instability, he's done.
I mean, that initial reaction with his hands.
Well, no, I'm talking about for Sunday.
Sure, but I'm just saying. And even on Thursday when they were discussing, the potential of what happened to him.
Right.
We were already talking about what had happened to him.
Right.
As just regular fans, not even trained medical people at all.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's really, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on what to believe in all of this.
Well, I think it's going to be another couple of weeks before.
What I don't believe is that Tua was protected.
No.
I don't believe he was protected. And, that leads me to another part of this discussion is what has Tua done to get so much? I mean, it's like either you love him or you hate him. And I don't understand where the hate came from unless you're just an anti-Alabama person and he was propped up so much that you ended up hating Tua because all of the experts were propping him up. It wasn't Tua's fault that he was being propped up as some next greatest.
Right. Yeah.
But
I agree.
Where's the hate come from? Because if you truly get to know this kid and listen to him and follow him and just follow him with an open mind, he's he's from a remarkable family. Yeah. He's a remarkable kid, man. I don't understand it.
He deserves. And I heard a lot more positive things, and unfortunately he's now the face of the concussion protocol. But maybe this sheds some new light on who he is as a person.
Be a good spokesperson for it.
And some of that. And, he's actually leading the league in quarterback rating going into next week.
Right.
So,
no, he's put up a
So he's
done
it on the field,
far.
of course. And that brings up a good point. I think part of the reason that Tua wasn't honest with how he felt was because of all of the negative stuff he gets in the media, in the social medias. I feel like everybody has convinced him that this is a prove it year. He has to prove that he can stay healthy. So he put himself back in there, even though he wasn't fully healthy. He's got to prove it with his stat. I mean, they've created this not really marketing, but this monster and this I can't think.
I can't think of.
I can't think of what the word I'm trying to say is, but they've created this where and this isn't even coming from the Dolphins. This is coming from analysts.
Well, did you see Fitzpatrick?
Oh yeah, he
almost cried. He almost cried, and Tua was given his job.
Oh, yeah.
Fitzpatrick didn't really lose that job.
No, I mean that just goes to show you the type of person that Tua is.
Exactly.
Because him and
they tried to make it sound like the media tried to make it sound like there was a strife, a beef between Fitz and Tua.
No.
And Fitzpatrick almost was in tears Thursday night when Tua was laying on the field. And that goes to show you that this is just a remarkable human being. He's not even a great football player. He's a remarkable human.
He is. Well, you know, he got married in the offseason, and they just went to, like, the Justice of the Peace and tried to keep it, you know, he tried to keep his private life private.
Sure.
And then people leaked that, and he was like, would somebody follow me to the courthouse? I mean, it's like, yeah, he's not trying to be all flamboyant or anything like that. And
he like you made a point, like he wants to play, he wants to make a point to prove and he's really, I don't really believe, and I don't know this for a fact,
right?
But I think I know Tua enough by just listening to him. He sincerely wants to prove his worth.
Right.
He doesn't want to prove people wrong.
Well,
he wants to prove why he's right.
And he also wants to be there for his brothers, for his teammates.
Yeah.
You know, he feels like if he's not on the field, he's letting them down. It's not about him. You know, he didn't care about his stats or this or that or what anybody in the media or on social media, keyboard bandits or whatever you want to call them. Warriors. He doesn't care what they have to say.
Mm-mm.
All he cares about is, you know, being the best Tua he can be and being there for his teammates. He doesn't want to let them down. So, but he's also a football player. Football players.
That's what they do, man. They play. They're warriors.
Yeah.
They play through stuff.
Absolutely.
They play through stuff. All right. We could talk Tua all night long, man. I'm serious. I love that dude, man. I love that.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast just on Tua.
I mean, I swear I will fight somebody over Tua. I ain't lying to you. I will fight somebody over Tua.
Yeah. And sometimes I try to take a step back, and I'm like, am I being biased in my opinion?
Well, I'm biased, but I'm objective. I know he's not the greatest quarterback ever.
Right.
I realize that.
Yeah. But he's a winner. He's a great winner.
But to put him in the bottom
and a great
20?
human being. Nah.
Jeez, come on, man. And just a person. Anyway, let's move on.
Well, while we're talking about football, let's just kind of recap what all went on in week 4. And there's only one undefeated team left.
Yeah.
And that'd be the Philadelphia Eagles. They moved to 4-0. And they actually had fallen. They fell into a 14-0 hole against Jags, and we had that as one of our games of the week last week.
And the Jags punched them in the mouth to start with, but I think the Eagles, to me, the Eagles proved that they've kind of separated themselves from everybody.
Right.
I don't want to put them way up. But they have created a gap at the top.
Right.
That they stuck to their game plan. They didn't really they never got panicked. And, of course, Jalen never looked panicked.
No, but, of course, they won and came back from behind, and it wasn't really one of Jalen's best games.
No, it
wasn't. He started part of the reason they were behind was because he threw a pick 6.
Right.
You know, that was the first score of the game. And, you know, he only threw for 200 yards and no touchdowns. He did run one in on the ground, but even there he was only 16 carries for 38 yards. So
yeah, but Jalen was Jalen. He was still calm. He didn't really change his demeanor.
Yep.
So the Eagles look good.
Yep.
They look good. They're legit. Your NFC East is struggling to keep up with them.
Well,
and I know your boys are 3-1.
The Giants and Cowboys are both 3-1. Of course, I still think
I looked at your schedule.
I still think the Giants are doing it with smoke and mirrors.
Well, no, I mean they're winning good. They're winning good football. I looked at their schedule though.
Yeah.
You're in trouble over the next 4 weeks. So you're going from 3. You could easily be 3-4.
Oh yeah.
Or 3-5.
Well, you know, it's funny watching the game this weekend. They said this is the fastest in like the past 6 or 7 years that the Giants were able to get to 3 wins. That the previous fastest they got to 3 wins was at week 9. So they were able to do it in week 4 this year. So I think they're building something. I think you know, they've got some good people at top now, the coach and the GM. So I don't expect. I mean, they might have a winning record at the end of the year, but they're not a contender this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants, the Cowboys, the Redskins, they need to make sure that they're their management is shored up because the Eagles are in great shape.
Speaking of the Cowboys, how about Cooper Rush? Man's never lost a start.
I know. 4-0. Isn't he 4-0?
4-0. Yeah, 3-0 this year.
He didn't have a great game yesterday,
right.
But he did. He's undefeated. He's undefeated, and he's kept the ship.
I would imagine he's gonna get some love when Dak gets back, and there's some teams needing a quarterback. They got to at least take a look at him.
Yeah. I meant to put I had a little. I saw something the other day that it was a little not a diagram, but I forget what he put. I lost it now. I had it somewhere. Anyway, it was Colin Cowherd, and he was comparing Dak's stats to Cooper's stats.
Yeah.
And it was definitely questionable whether or not Dak should have a job.
Really?
Coming back. I mean, 4-0. I mean, it's hard not to roll with the guy that's kept you going, but at the same time, Dak is getting paid money for that to be his team. So, I mean, I still think Dak's probably their logical choice there, but Cooper Rush has done a really good job.
He has. It's like a Tony Romo or Kurt Warner type of story, come out of nowhere. And
yeah, I didn't know which direction you really wanted to go on this. I mean,
Kenny Pickett, I see you've got him on there. Yeah, he looked good. He did good when he came in the game for
He threw some
Trubisky.
picks, man, but his quarterback rating was good in just a short amount of time. And I honestly, given the Steelers situation,
it's his job
Kenny
now.
Pickett's job. But who predicted? I want you to remember. Go back to episode was it 2? Who predicted Kenny Pickett would take over in week 4? So as much shit as he gives me on my quarterback analysis,
I might have to
go back and watch. I don't even remember episode 2 or 3, maybe. I predicted that Kenny Pickett would take over.
Was it our fantasy football episode or was it our NFL preview?
I didn't have the time to go back through, but I will go back through because I did predict that Kenny Pickett was going to take over in week 4. Now I did also predict that he would lose it. Cheers, thank you. I'm going to take that. Get every bit of credit I get when it comes my way. But yeah, I think
because you definitely wasn't right on Baker.
No, I didn't even write notes down.
I didn't even put Baker in.
No, there's no notes, man. I'm done with Baker. I'm not.
So was 100,000 Panthers fans.
Man,
all booing and
it's embarrassing.
But the Panthers have nobody else to go to.
Well,
I mean, Darnold's not.
I still got to throw
healthy.
A little bit out for Baker. Not really defending Baker, but McAdoo is horrible.
Oh,
he's horrible. I watched the Panthers game. The scheme, the offensive scheme, it's so elementary. The routes he's got these guys running. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
and
he was a terrible head coach.
Deontay
for the Giants.
Foreman. You remember Deontay Foreman?
Yeah.
He's a Panther.
Yeah.
He hadn't touched the ball.
Yeah.
4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and goal. He hasn't touched the ball. I just don't understand the play calling. Baker's horrible. Baker is really off, but I'm not going to blame him totally because I think he's running probably one of the most embarrassing offenses in the NFL.
Predictable.
And it's Matt Rule's fault. He's the head coach.
Yeah.
He hired him. But he's horrible.
There'll be a house cleaning, if not during the season. By the end of the season, there'll be a house cleaning.
It has to be. I kind of don't think. I mean, I don't want to say Baker's clearly not a franchise guy, but I mean he's a better quarterback than what we're seeing.
Yeah,
he's a better.
There's been a lot of bad quarterbacks.
There has been.
I mean, even Kyler Murray in that game didn't.
Yeah, no, it was ugly, but it was kind of crappy weather. It wasn't raining, but
nah.
it was just. I get it. I mean, there was crappy weather across the league.
Yeah, I mean, talking about another quarterback that's not looking real good is Russell Wilson in Denver.
No,
I think Seattle is actually thinking we got the better quarterback now with Geno Smith.
Look, that's what my note. Geno Smith may be an upgrade to Russell Wilson. Yeah. I mean, I think Geno Smith has looked really, really good.
Yeah, both teams are 2-2. And the Seahawks, they just put up 48 points against the Lions, 48-45.
Seahawks defense is garbage,
Right.
but we knew that going in. We
Right.
predicted that. But they got some extra draft picks from making that Russell Wilson trade.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I think they thought that we're going to plug Geno in and we're going to suck and we're going to draft one, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or
Geno
Will
looks like
Levis.
the real deal, man.
I know now it's kind of like maybe we got something.
I mean, he's still going to throw a pick or two,
right.
But I mean, that's just because he's willing to take shots.
Yeah.
And he's got DK Metcalf's got to be like,
oh yeah, he had like 150
thank
yards
goodness,
in that game.
I got somebody that's gonna at least throw it to him because I can't even remember the kid that they traded for now.
Drew Lock.
Yeah. I don't know why when the camera's rolling, I can't remember
Brain
names. When the camera's rolling, I can't remember names. But Drew Lock never, he was never gonna push the ball like Geno does. So
Talking about tremendous quarterback play this weekend. The Giants' third-string quarterback, Saquon Barkley. So, yeah, Daniel Jones goes out with an ankle sprain. They bring in Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
He decides, I'm going to run a quarterback keeper and lead with my head. He gets knocked out. He goes into the concussion protocol. So they got to bring Saquon in and run the Wildcat. And still wound up winning that game.
You got extra garbage points, for that one.
I'm hoping that, now in fantasy football, maybe he'll be eligible at QB and at running back.
You're going to reclassify him. Yeah, no, let's so I wanted to talk a little about the Lions, man. I think
I'm a fan.
Man, they're the most exciting team in the game, man. They're fun.
And they're going to get better.
They're going to get better.
They got weapons that are going to be coming back soon.
Yeah, they played without weapons.
Yeah.
They didn't have Swift. Of course,
they didn't have
Williams.
Swift. Yeah,
Williams
Jameson
looks like a plug-in.
Yeah, well, as soon as J-Mo gets in there, I mean, he's going to be.
Jameson.
And they didn't have St. Brown this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm on.
Yeah, he was out.
So yeah, I am a Dan Campbell fan, believer.
Well, I think the players are too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the players.
Well, that's the thing. The talent gap is not that huge. A lot of times between teams. A lot of times it's what are they willing to do for do they believe in their coach? It's like Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. The players love him and are doing anything they can for him. Dan Campbell, Peterson down at Jacksonville, he's got them believing. Dable at the Giants, he's got them believing. So, coaching is important.
It's a bigger deal than you think.
Yeah, I mean, like in baseball or basketball, I don't know what the coaches do. I mean,
basketball, I think coaches, are drawing up plays and timeouts, man. But baseball, man,
you set the lineup and you sit back, eat sunflower seeds, and watch them play.
Yeah, you spit sunflower seeds and act like you're into the game.
But no, in football, coaching goes a long way. I mean, just look at if a quarterback is in the right system and has got a coach like Tua. I know we talk about Tua probably more than we should, but look at him last year under Flores.
Sure.
Who didn't believe in him, who didn't know how to coach an offense. Flores was a defensive guy. And now you bring in McDaniel, and Tua's leading the league in passer rating.
Yeah, it's because McDaniel designed his offense around Tua's skill set.
Yeah.
Duh.
And that's why Kyler and Baker were number one draft picks and Heisman Trophy winners because Lincoln Riley, when he had him at Oklahoma, built the schemes around their strengths to make them look good and put up these video game numbers.
Right, gaudy stats.
Yeah, gaudy stats, and they win the Heisman, and they go on their back-to-back Heismans, back-to-back number one overall picks.
But their game doesn't match.
It doesn't translate good to the
NFL game.
Nope.
That's why back to the Lions, Jared Goff. I mean, I've always kind of
number one overall.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that was a little lofty, but you can win with Jared Goff. You can win with him. Yeah. I mean, the Lions need to start drafting some defense. Yeah. But I think the Lions are going to be a really solid team.
Yeah, give another year or two.
Next few years.
Hey, I think we're seeing. an evolution
like
in the NFL.
It's like we're turning it over from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, you got some
Patriots
of these teams
are starting to.
Yeah, the Patriots are starting to go down. The Packers are dropping. I mean, they are 3-1.
Steelers.
But I mean, the Packers needed overtime to get past the Patriots' third string quarterback.
Yeah, they struggled. They struggled mightily.
They
struggled
and
mightily.
Now
Belichick has to be given tons of credit for that defensive performance.
Yeah.
Or is it that, I mean, Aaron Rodgers,
his weapons are
his weapons, but man, he was like 50-50 in that game.
Yeah.
Like half of his balls were really good, and the other ones I was like,
like I said, the quarterback play this weekend was not very impressive.
Matty Ice, your Colts better start playing.
I'm taking the L on that one. I thought about we need to start pulling up some of these older episodes and see.
Oh, we will, I'm sure.
See where we are on some of the. Yeah, that's one. I mean,
well, I don't.
That one I was wrong on the Jaguars, but so was most of the country was wrong on both of those. Because I mean, you upgrade the Colts didn't lose anybody, and they upgraded at quarterback, yet they can't win a game.
Well, I mean, we thought they upgraded at quarterback, but man, he looks like maybe he's done. I don't know.
Or maybe it was just a parallel move.
Could have been. I mean, I think it's a little too early yet to start ruling Matty Ice as being done. But I mean, the Colts they're just struggling.
The one coaching decision that I didn't understand this weekend was the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the who were they playing? The Bills.
Yeah.
So it's 20-20. The Ravens are driving. They get all the way down in the red zone, and I think it's 4th and goal from the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, here comes the kicker. Of course, that was my fantasy kicker. So I'm like, all right, here comes 3 points for me because Tucker never misses.
Never.
I shouldn't have said that. Knock on some wood. But I'm like, where's Tucker? They're going for it. 4th and 4. And there's only like less than 2 minutes left, or right at 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why aren't they kicking the field goal here? They go for it. They get stuffed. They don't make it, and the Bills take over.
Well, let me talk about that play though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Duvernay was open.
Yeah.
He was open early in that play, but Lamar missed him because he wants to get outside and create because that's what his mentality.
Right.
I'm thinking that's what his mentality is on that last play is. I'm just gonna snap it. I'm gonna roll out and create like a RPO.
Mm-hmm.
But watching that play over and over, Duvernay was open early on.
Well, was it Duvernay that let one go right through his hands earlier in that game?
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, I didn't agree with that call there. I would have kicked the field goal there. I know you do. Okay, if you don't get it on the 4th down, then they have to drive the whole field. But they don't really have to drive the whole field because now all they have to do is drive into field goal range.
Yeah, I mean, field goal kickers have so much range these days.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is get to the 40-yard line.
And it is Josh Allen that you're staring at.
Right.
So Josh Allen's going to be able to move his team within field goal range easily within a minute.
So usually I'm a fan of aggressive coaches, like the onside kick against Alabama.
Yeah.
Loved that call. Caught us way off guard.
Yeah.
There was also an onside kick in one of the pro games this weekend. They failed, but it was still.
It would have been effective.
That one. But here at the end of the game, kick your 3, go because you still got to play defense whether you kick that 3 or not.
I mean, and then he throws the interception. You get the ball out at the 20.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, you really didn't pin them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go for it, run the ball. And that way they're pinned inside the 5.
Exactly. But I disagreed with Harbaugh. I mean, you can't really say much about John because he is.
Oh, he's a great coach.
But I did kind of.
I didn't even listen to the press conference.
He kind of owned. He was like, I just felt like what you were saying. I felt like even if we didn't get it, we were going to leave them with the ball inside the 4. Right. And they would have to drive the length to tie or beat us. So if he did mention analytics, and sometimes the analytics get in the way. Right. I think I would have, even if I didn't trust my defense, which he obviously didn't.
Right.
But I mean, as a defensive coordinator against
Lamar or Josh Allen.
Against Josh Allen, I'm not really going to trust my defense anyway.
Well, I mean, they'd only given up 20 points.
Yeah, but they did contain him pretty good. So, I mean, I think I'm kicking that field goal.
But
there.
you still don't put. If you're going to go for it, don't put the ball in harm's way. You got to, like you said, if you pin them inside the 5, that's one thing. But throwing a pick in the end zone where they get to now have it out at the 20, you just made it that much easier on them. All they need now is about 40 yards. So
yeah, no, I definitely think it was a bad call.
So yeah, I didn't like that one. The Raiders finally got a win.
Yep.
Over the Broncos, who we talked a little bit about, where Russ is really struggling.
That AFC West is. I mean, the whole NFL is crazy to predict.
Yeah.
Crazy to predict.
Yep.
But the Raiders look. They look decent.
Well, and in that game, the Broncos lost Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
torn ACL.
Yeah,
he's out for the year. Speaking of the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. We're going to do an MRI on him today, see if it's a high ankle sprain or not. So he may be out for. He's definitely not. I would say. I won't say definitely, but my guess is he's not playing Thursday night.
Probably multiple games if it's a true high ankle sprain.
Right.
I think fantasy world certainly. Some owners are going to have to have plan Bs. Because I know Javonte Williams was factored into the into the fantasy league pretty heavily. And of course, Jonathan Taylor obviously is a must start in every week.
Yeah, those are two. And then there was Patterson maybe with the Falcons might be a little banged up because they were pulling him out of the game.
Chris Godwin was up and down all night in that game. I think he's coming back too quick. I don't think he's quite 100% healthy, so that should factor into your thought process too.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to talk.
Yeah, we've kind of wandered off into fantasy land.
The NFL, anything you got? Anything? I mean, that's kind of just wanted to talk about the highlights.
Yeah, the only thing I picked 3 games as games to watch this weekend. The first one being the London game, Sunday morning 9:30. My Giants against the Packers, both teams 3-1. Be a good measuring stick because the Packers did not look good against the Patriots.
I kind of think Giants and the Packers are pretty even Steven
exactly.
to me.
So it may be a good game
if Daniel Jones is playing.
He said he's feeling pretty good. He did wind up going back into the game where he went in and he would either line up at wide receiver when they were in the Wildcat with Saquon, or he would be in the shotgun and just pretty much hand it. I don't think he threw a pass after he left the game and came back. I'd have to rewatch it and make sure, but I don't think he threw a pass after hurting the ankle. So I'm sure he'll get treatment all this week, and we'll see if he's good to go. And I don't know what they're going to do if Daniel can't play and if Tyrod's still in concussion protocol.
They're going to
probably sign somebody off the street.
They will
I
have
guess.
to sign somebody.
Their third string quarterback is that kid that they drafted a few years ago. I can't remember his name now. But he was with Dable at the Bills, and then they brought him in. Davis Webb, I think is his name. But anyway,
I don't know. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got that as one of my games to watch because it is 2 teams with 3-1 records. I got the Cowboys versus the Rams as a game to watch.
There wasn't
a lot of juicy, exciting games.
Yeah, you Giants don't even list a third stringer on.
Is there a taxi?
On the depth chart? No, they don't even list a third quarterback.
I think they've got one on the practice squad.
I'm sure.
They don't on the active on the 53.
But yeah, there wasn't.
This was a stretch to find these. The Cowboys are 3-1. Cooper Rush hadn't lost yet. The Rams are 2-1. They're playing right now, so we won't know if they're going to be 3-1 or 2-2
right now.
And then the Sunday night game is the Bengals versus the Ravens. So it's a pretty good matchup.
That's a good divisional matchup.
Divisional matchup. The 2 good quarterbacks with Burrow and Lamar Jackson. So that was
Yeah, I agree.
Wasn't a real exciting.
Yeah, I went through the schedule, and I figured I would just let you list them out. I knew your Giants would be on there with both being 3-1. That is a good matchup.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So yeah, and that like I said, it really wasn't a whole lot to get excited about. Matchup wise, it's a lot
of like grouped. Everybody's kind of grouped. Really,
right.
It's going to be interesting. I kind of like it. It's like.
Well, and that's always what they're shooting for is parity within the league. So on any given Sunday, either team can win, and
sure.
You don't have these blowouts. So
certainly didn't see the Jags, the Seahawks, the Jets.
The Bears are 2-2.
The Bears. I called them trash early.
Did. And
they still are. Yeah, they are trash.
They didn't look good at all.
Fields he's still trash. He's on record pace. He's thrown for less than 300 yards in 4 games.
His prop bet this week was like 145.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't even check to see if he exceeded it or not. But
it's crazy.
I think he did because I think he had I think he connected on a couple of long pass plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a whole lot to get excited about.
Nah. Let's roll. Let's
move into some college football.
Yes, sir.
How about them Jayhawks?
Hey, man. Rock Chalk Jayhawks. Hey, that whole Big 12. I mean, how about that Oklahoma State Cowboys?
Yep, it might be another L I'm taking there on the.
Man, I'm looking pretty good so far in some predictions. Maybe I should start gambling a little bit, but yeah, Oklahoma State definitely. I think they are the team to beat.
Yeah,
they're certainly on my watch list for the top 5 now.
Yeah.
Where
did they move to this week?
I think they're 7.
Okay.
I didn't write the whole thing down.
I didn't either, so I knew they moved up, but actually.
But yeah, I got the TCU Kansas game. Gonna be a nice one.
Yeah, that's all my games to watch.
Yeah, it's
at
a nice
noon.
One.
Number 17 versus number 19. So
that's right.
I mentioned Kansas moved into the top 25. They came in at number 19. They're 5-0. Now their quarterback didn't look real good this weekend.
Oklahoma State 7th.
7th. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jalen Daniels. They were starting to give him a little bit of Heisman hype. This week he took a step back. Defense looked good.
I think they can afford a week here, a week there, given how the season's kind of rolling right now. Nobody's really.
I mean, C.J. Stroud didn't put up good numbers,
and he's been kind of up and down all year long.
Bryce got hurt, so that might hurt.
And his numbers have been down. So,
yep.
I was touting some what's his name from Wisconsin.
Well, let's do that. Let's name a few names next week's show. It'll be the midway for the regular season. So that'll be week 6.
Yeah.
So let's
do our Heisman watch.
Yeah, we'll give a little Heisman love
on
right. Next week's podcast.
That'll be good
when we do our college football recap. So yeah, I didn't really have a lot on college football other than just kind of diving into the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going bottom up.
Right, that's the way I've got mine listed.
I say let's talk Clemson.
Clemson.
I got to tip my hat to the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah.
I thought they
handled it pretty easily.
I thought they looked good.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were ever.
The defense looked better. That defensive line, which we touted, as one of the best.
And that was without Brian Brees.
Yeah, and he still wasn't out there. But that D-line finally showed up.
Yeah.
DJ Uyunglele. Each week, I said he's got about 3 weeks to prove it. And each week he's gotten a little bit better, a little more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You see he's playing with more confidence.
Yep.
So, I mean, based on the last 2 weeks, with them knocking off Wake Forest and then knocking off NC State, they are in complete control of the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Wake went and knocked off Florida State.
Yeah, given the ACC, Miami's just not back. You're not back.
Clemson, by handing both of those teams a loss, and that would then give them the tiebreaker against those teams if Clemson were to lose a game. But I don't even know that there's anybody left on their schedule in the ACC.
Well, I guess they could technically trip up.
Yeah.
Could trip up to somebody. I don't know.
Dabo usually has his team
up.
He usually doesn't let them
But I thought they looked solid, man. I got them at a solid 5 now. I'm not really wavering on that.
Right.
I think I think USC, is obviously on the outside of the top 5, right at 6.
Yeah.
I think USC is a pretender. I don't think they're quite top 5 ready, so I don't really look to see them jump into the top 5. I expect Oklahoma State to jump USC at some point. And obviously if if Oklahoma State continues to play well, given the fact that TCU's ranked, Kansas is ranked, Kansas State has a lot of clout within.
The Big 12's getting some love right now.
They deserve it. They deserve it. They're playing a good brand of football.
Finally.
Outside Oklahoma. Oklahoma's trash.
Yeah.
Texas is better than Red River Rivalry is this weekend.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, I didn't have it on my game to watch.
Nobody does. Nobody does because nobody wants to watch Oklahoma against Texas because they're both out of it. But
I thought Texas, with the way they showed up against Alabama, I thought they were going to have a good year. But
that's something that I've had arguments with social media wise with people of different programs. Everyone puts too much into how Alabama did against Texas, how Texas did against Oklahoma,
right.
How Oklahoma did. You can't do that.
Because
none of that matters.
For a lot of these schools, just beating Alabama is like winning the national championship.
It's probably their best game of the year.
Yeah. It can put them on the map recruiting.
Absolutely.
It just means so much that they and the kids' adrenaline is pumping so much that they're going to play the best. How many times have we, as a backup quarterback, came in and just played like he was Johnny Unitas?
Yeah, and it's not really because our defense sucks.
No, it's just,
That goes all the way back to South Carolina, Garcia.
Yeah.
Making throws that he never made again.
Yeah, standing on his head.
So Clemson's solid at 5.
So, they didn't just blow me away, but they handled their business. They handled their business. The defensive line looked much better than it had been looking, and DJ looked a lot better. So if DJ keeps improving like he is, and that defense gets back to being a Clemson defense, watch out. They're going to be a legit playoff team. Yeah,
I think I still think they're going to get wiped in the playoffs.
Right.
I do, but I'm just not that impressed with them offensively.
But if they run the table and they're ACC champs, Michigan and Ohio State got to play each other. So one of them's going to have a loss, at least.
You would think.
Alabama and Georgia is going to have to play each other if they both go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's going to have a loss. So you got an undefeated Clemson team versus two teams with a loss. That opens the door for them.
I definitely think winning the last 2 weeks, they've kind of paved their way to the playoffs.
Right.
I don't see them. They would have to play really bad, get some injuries or something,
right?
To not make the playoffs for sure. I just think, I don't know.
Upsets happen all the time. All right. So your boys at number 4, Michigan.
Michigan. That was a good W.
Yeah. They went on the road against a solid defense.
Yeah, really good defense. Not the greatest of offenses for sure.
No.
Michigan did well. They did a lot better than I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
They usually struggle there.
They say Iowa's the place where top 5 teams go to die.
Yeah. I was worried, but they look solid.
Corum, he might be in the Heisman.
Oh, he's got to be. He's got to be on the map for sure.
As far as running backs go,
JJ looked good. I was a little worried about him being on the road in that environment, but to me he looks like he handled it well, and so. I like Michigan. They're solid 4.
Okay.
And I bumped Georgia down to my number. They're 3rd in mine. You didn't do it?
Well, I went by the actual rankings.
I got you.
But Georgia did. The AP did drop Georgia to number 2.
Right.
But I said they should have dropped them to number 3.
Well, I dropped Georgia to number 3 because back-to-back struggle wins.
Yeah.
And that loss to Mizzou. that didn't look good to me.
Well, they won.
I mean, the win. Excuse me.
But it felt like a lot.
It felt like a lot.
They trailed for 56 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
They did not take the lead until that last drive when they scored with 4 minutes left. And they did. That's 2 weeks in a row with lackluster showings.
I gave them last week. I didn't bump them because of Kent State. Because I can understand overlooking Kent State.
Yeah.
But I don't understand, going to Mizzou and getting out. Yeah, I don't want to say officiating helped them because I don't like to blame officials for anything. Mm-hmm. But there was a few fortunate calls late in that game to help them. So Georgia and their 2 struggle wins, I dropped them to 3.
I think they should be 3. Like I said, I just did it based on the AP ranking because I would have really loved if the AP put Ohio State 1.
I kind of was thinking they would.
Left us at 2 and dropped Georgia to 3. Which that's what I would have liked to see happen in the standings. But the only change in the top 5 was us and Georgia. We had a nice. Well, we didn't talk about Ohio State. Let's go back and talk about Ohio State.
So I got Ohio State at 2. They're obviously.
They're handling their business.
They
haven't played anybody yet.
No.
I mean, Wisconsin's probably the biggest team they've played, but Wisconsin's proven not to really be a threat.
Wisconsin I think is not even
considered. I'd like to see them play a top opponent. Well, they got Michigan State this weekend, I think. Which
Michigan State's falling off the map.
They're not what they were last year.
Now the Buckeyes, I mean, they're getting better. Their defense, their back end is really, really good. They got a really good back end.
Do we know what their defense is, though?
Well, no. I mean, it's hard to judge based on who they've played so far. Right. I mean, they're not a juggernaut on the front for sure. So they do have some holes.
Yeah.
But their back end is really, really good.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I think they should have at least moved up to 2 in the AP. I would have probably voted them 1 in the AP and left Alabama at 2. So we can go ahead and talk about Alabama, who was number 2 in the rankings last week, but after the 49-26 whooping they gave Arkansas, they moved up to number 1 in the AP.
We were in complete control of that game prior to
when Bryce went
going out.
I think when Bryce went out, I think the whole team went into shock, and we were up 28-0. Bryce goes out. Actually, we were up 21-0. Bryce goes out. Jalen scored another touchdown, put us up 28-0. Then we went to sleepwalking, and they scored 23 straight points, and.
We were just moving it up and down the field on them.
I think that kind of snapped us out of that shock that the whole team was in because you lose your leader. It's kind of like, and then so once they got out of that shock of losing Bryce and realized, hey, wait a minute, we got to get back to playing this game out here. Then they turned the Jets back on. J. Mark Gibbs, another running back that's got to be talked about in the Heisman. He was SEC Offensive Player of the Week this week.
Yeah, he definitely put his name in the hat this week with that.
Couple 100 yards, couple of 70-yard touchdown runs. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
22.8 miles per hour.
What was it?
22.8 miles per hour.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's real nice.
That's nice. Anything over 20 is
Jalen
nice.
Milroe was 22.
Really?
Jalen Milroe hit 22.
I'm going to see these guns. Because some of these NFL players ain't hitting but 20 and 21, like Derrick Henry.
Hey, yeah. But, no, I thought, obviously Milroe is not the passer. He's got a lot of work to do in the passing game.
Well, but if they know that's going to be their quarterback, they can put in a different offensive game plan.
Exactly. So if we have to go with Jalen Milroe this weekend against A&M, I'm not worried.
I'm not worried either.
I thought he looked comfortable. He never looked out of control.
At first, I thought it was Derrick Henry because Milroe is huge.
He is huge. Did you see his power clean? They on Instagram he did a I don't know. I don't even.
Yeah.
It was like 365-pound power clean, man.
And I think last year he did wear number 2. He switched to number 4 this year because B-Rob graduated.
Yeah, he was number 2.
So he really would have looked like D. Henry back there, quarterback.
I saw somebody post that they were pissed because they were like, you lose your Heisman Trophy winner, and Nick Saban goes into the cupboard and brings out the Incredible Hulk.
This is off topic, but speaking of Derrick Henry, have you seen the Heisman House, the latest one?
God, I didn't even realize that was.
I was like, who's that? What defensive end won Heisman Trophy? I was like, holy crap, that's D. Henry.
I know, he's crazy.
He is a monster. Anyway,
but Jalen Milroe, he didn't look like it was too big for him.
No, the moment wasn't too big for him.
So I was happy. I'm a little worried about our passing game because Arkansas's back end is terrible.
Right.
We didn't really take advantage of that, but I mean, he took what.
Right, and like I said, the game plan going in was centered around Bryce.
Sure.
Now, if we know, and Bryce is day to day with a shoulder sprain. He hadn't been ruled out for this weekend, but I don't think Nick's going to show his hand anyway.
No, not at all.
We won't know until they run out onto the field.
Yeah, we won't even know at press conferences on Friday.
Bryce will definitely be dressed out, and he'll be out there, and you might be able to watch warm-ups and see how much he's throwing. But it's
and A&M lost. They're not that dangerous quarterback wise.
Right.
They lost one of their running backs. So
now about all they got is A-Chain.
I don't want to take them lightly, obviously, but I would like to I would love to put up as many points as we can on them.
And I think
that would be.
I think which I was going to talk more about it when we got to the picks. I mean the games to watch, but
that's all I have about.
Yeah, I guess we did already talk about Georgia. They never led and all that. So so I guess we can go into the games to watch. We already mentioned one of them, which is TCU at Kansas, and that's at noon. Both teams ranked 17 and 19, so it'll be a good. Both of them are undefeated.
Yeah.
So TCU, they've been putting up some points.
I gotta give Big 12 some credit, man. I've been down on the Big 12 for like 3 or 4 decades.
Mm-hmm.
At least a good decade. I thought the Big 12 was just, Oklahoma only, out with the exception of an Oklahoma State every now and then.
You got to go back to like Vince Young and Barry Sanders.
But anyway, that's good, man. TCU, Kansas.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. And then I've got LSU moved back into the rankings. So you got number 8 Tennessee at number 25 LSU, and of course this is Tennessee's week before the Alabama game.
Yep.
So this could be a trap game for Tennessee.
This is the game that I judge Tennessee on.
Yeah, LSU. They had that early season first week loss against FSU. But they seem to be turning things around and have looked good the last 3 weeks. So that should be that might be the best game of the week. A lot of people were pissed that it's the noon game,
right,
instead of the 3:30 CBS game. But CBS chose Georgia and Auburn.
Yeah,
and I didn't even put that on my because I'd much rather see Tennessee and LSU.
They act like that's a rivalry because they've been going at it for so long.
I mean,
whatever.
Yeah, lengthwise, okay, you can call it a rivalry.
Yeah.
But game-wise, no. So that's my second game to watch. And then my third game to watch is the A&M Alabama game, which would be at 8 o'clock. And, you had the whole bad blood between Saban and Jimbo over NIL. And
that seems to be the only real headline of the week for A&M now. A&M's kind of shit the bed.
Right,
so.
And then, of course, they beat us last year, so it's going. Usually it's hard for a team to beat Saban 2 years in a row. I think it's only happened twice.
I got Utah UCLA on one of my games.
Yeah, Utah's. They also suffered the early season loss, but they've bounced back and looked good.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And of course, I mentioned the Red River Rivalry is a game to watch just because it's a good rivalry game. I don't understand why they play it now. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I don't consider it one of the top rivalries in college football. Is because it's played so early.
They're ending it because of
because of the conference
moving to the SEC.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I guess it's still dependent on. I mean, it could still be their rivalry game.
I truly believe if the conferences are aligned properly, that the SEC will set that up as a November game,
as like a Tennessee Alabama,
exactly, or maybe an Iron Bowl, like the end of the year for an Iron Bowl.
Yeah, they always play it so early. I don't get that.
I don't understand it either.
That should be at the end of the year.
But those are some decent games to watch. I mean, I don't see many outliers of other teams that are working their way up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think right now Oklahoma State is on the outside looking in. Of course, USC. Everyone else kind of has to rely on some mistakes being made. Yeah, exactly.
Win some conferences.
But, I think what I would like for us to do at the end of this year is to put together the 12-team playoff and discuss that based on how this season ends up. I think it would be an interesting topic, to just play it out.
Yeah, as
if we had the 12-team playoff.
Okay, yep. I got you. Well, speaking of college football and ESPN, they have the Bear every Saturday makes his picks against the point spreads, the over-unders, the betting lines. Well, this week we had one of our followers send us an email, and he gave us 5 picks. So ESPN has the Bear. We've got the Duck.
We've got the Duck.
So Mr. Mallard,
Matthew Mallard,
sent in his picks, and it wasn't just easy. Right. I mean, some of this stuff I was like, okay. So let me tell you his picks from last week. He gave us 5 and got all 5 of them right. So first pick was the Kentucky Ole Miss game, under 55.
I didn't believe that one.
Under 55, and they only scored 41.
I know. I thought that was going to be a shootout.
So he crushed that one. Also from that game, he said take Kentucky in the points. Kentucky was getting 6. Kentucky lost by 3. So he wins. So that's 2 for 2. Your boys, the Iowa-Michigan game. He said take the under 42. 42 is not a lot of points.
Not a lot.
41 points were scored.
And Andy did want to take Michigan minus the points in that one.
And how much was Michigan giving up?
Like 10.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't, or he got that one wrong.
Yeah. No, it was actually 10.5.
Oh, no, actually, he would have got it right.
would have won.
They won by 13.
Yeah,
you're right. He would have won that one. All right. So he got that. He squeaked that one by. Called it under 42, and they won. The total was 41. He said take UCLA in the 3 points. UCLA won outright by 8 points over number 15 Washington. And then his last one was UTSA versus Middle Tennessee State. He said take the over 64. It's a lot of points
that is a lot of points
to have to cover. Well, they scored 75 points. The game was 45-30.
Yeah.
So
5-0
to the Mallard Duck.
We need cheers. We need. Let's go 5 more picks.
That's right. Yeah, send them in before we tape, so we can share them. And we're not encouraging people going out and gambling.
For those of you that are on YouTube, we're giving you your own little segment. Mallard's picks. Quack. We got a duck. That's pretty cool segment.
Yeah. Oh, it was like I said. The ESPN's got the Bear. We need the Duck.
And this is not gambling advice.
No, it's just so for fun and.
But we're gonna watch your picks. So if you're not quite ready to have your own segment,
I was super impressed with what he was able to do in week 1.
That's right. He actually responded. I don't know what he said. I don't know if I can even say it on air. I guess I can. He said he wants to know when the deadline is.
Yep. Just missed this week's deadline.
You missed it. But hey,
go ahead and send them.
Send them, and we'll do a TikTok.
We'll put them on TikTok to that way they're announced before the games are played, so people can't say, they made that up afterwards. We need to know before the games are played. So
we'll do a TikTok, and we'll put a little we'll put a pick sheet up there.
All right.
on TikTok.
Good deal.
Sweet.
So we got the duck.
We got the duck. We got the mallard.
All right. Well, let's start the last segment, and that's where we wanted to rank the greatest sports movies of all time. So, like I said, I started out trying to do a top 10 list, and that was hard.
Very difficult.
So then I did a top 10 plus one, and then I still kept coming up with more and more of them. So I also came up with some honorable mentions.
All right. Well,
So how do we want to
do your honorable mention list first?
do the honorable mentions first? All right, but first, we can't talk movies without a little popcorn.
Oh, we gotta have a little popcorn.
Let's get a little popcorn going, a little bourbon. All right, so
Popcorn and bourbon. I've never had that.
with my honorable mentions, I kind of broke it down into different sports. So my first one is fighting. And in fighting, my honorable mentions were The Wrestler, which is a Mickey Rourke movie. It's really, it's kind of like follows a wrestler who does all these like high school gym shows.
Oh, yeah.
He's a washed up, popping pills and all that. It's a good movie. Raging Bull.
Yeah, Raging Bull.
And then Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh my God.
Bloodsport.
You did not pull out a Van Damme movie.
I even asked my wife. I was like, "Is that even a sport movie?" She said, "It's got sport in the name." So I love that movie, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
So
who was the guy he was up against?
Oh,
in
the
Bloodsport?
big old.
It was the big one.
The
that threw the salt in his eyes or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so those were my fighting ones. Golf. These might even be in your top 10, but Tin Cup and Happy Gilmore.
Tin Cup for sure is in my
your
my
ranking
list.
or your.
No, I made honorable mention.
Okay, so these are my honorable mentions: Tin Cup and Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore's garbage to me, but I mean it's fun.
It's
for
funny.
Some of
It was
quotes.
slapstick.
Yeah.
So then hockey, you got Miracle, Slapshot, Mystery Alaska, and the Mighty Ducks. Football, you got Invincible, North Dallas 40, and The Blind Side.
Yeah.
Basketball, I got Blue Chips. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that was Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
Blue Chips, Hoosiers.
Hoosiers for sure.
And Fast Break. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's with Gabe Kaplan, who was Welcome Back, Kotter.
Gabe Kaplan, yeah.
And he puts together a ragtag basketball team. So that's my basketball ones. My baseball ones, and there again, some of these might be in your top 10. Bull Durham, the Bad News Bears, Major League, which I actually rank as I didn't have a baseball movie in my top 10, but Major League is my favorite baseball
That's your
movie.
favorite?
Yeah, Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes.
The Natural.
Oh, The Natural's a great movie.
And then Field of Dreams. And
honorable mention?
Yep,
Field of Dreams?
Yep. Well,
okay.
I'm not baseball like
I
you are.
got you.
I'm not baseball like
Okay.
you are. And then another one that might have been on the fringe is what was the one about women's baseball?
Oh, A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own.
Yeah. It was a good movie.
Yeah, and then I had two racing movies: Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise and Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, and
Now you
Shake
see
and
it?
Bake.
Now
I'm
you
all
don't.
jacked up on Mountain Dew. So those were my honorable mentions. So did you have any others?
Oh yeah, I got a few. All right, so mine, All the Right Moves. Tom Cruise, you remember that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And Pipe. Mm-hmm. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Made my list.
Oh, okay. Hoosiers.
Yeah, Hoosiers. I
Hoosiers
mentioned
was Hoosiers was actually on my top 10, but I bumped it as I was doing more soul searching. Hoop Dreams. Not really a movie.
Yeah, no,
it's a documentary, but it
yeah.
was really good. I put that in my list because of how good it is.
Yep.
Jerry Maguire. Mm-hmm. I love Jerry Maguire. This one's on your list. White Man Can't Jump.
So is Jerry Maguire.
I know that's in your top 10.
Yeah, so three of your honorable mentions made my top 10.
42.
Yeah.
The Story of Jackie Robinson.
Right.
Secretariat.
Yeah, I thought about
man,
Secretariat.
That was such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. A movie about Secretariat, obviously, and horse racing. And then my last one, honorable mention, Tin Cup.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Tin Cup was going to be in your top 10.
Struggling with Tin Cup. I love that movie.
Okay. All right, so you want me to do my list or you do your list?
We'll alternate. How about that? Okay. I'll go number 10.
Well, I've got number 11, so I'll go first.
Oh, okay. All right. He's always trying to one up me. You notice that? 11.
10 plus
top
1.
10 list, one up.
So this one, I know many people have never heard of this movie. The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. That's from the 70s, man.
Dr. J.
I knew.
Anything that had Dr. J as Moses Guthrie.
That movie was horrible, bro. Movie was horrible.
Hey, this is my list.
I know.
You stick to your list.
I
said, that's why that's my plus one.
I know. Dr.
Growing
J.
up, Dr. J was my idol.
I should have known you was going to put that movie in there. I didn't think about that, but I do remember
Yeah, the storyline was trash.
It was trash.
You know, they go to an astrologer to figure out how to make a winning basketball team, and they got to get all their birthdays aligned with the stars properly. But hey, Dr. J was in
Dr.
it.
J is all you needed to know, right?
All right, give me your number 10.
All right, number 10 for me is Vision Quest. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Modine, little wrestling, a high school wrestling movie.
That was a good movie.
A little story of triumph from the 80s. You know, anyone that, well, my lady that lives with me gets totally aggravated. She gets aggravated with me because I will watch 80s triumph movies all day long, over and over. Vision Quest was a good movie. You've never seen Vision Quest
That
with
is
Matthew
a good movie.
Modine?
I didn't even think of that one.
Really good music, good story.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a good
story.
one. That's a good one.
That's what I bumped 10 Cup out for.
Okay. All right, so my true number 10 is a hockey movie. My number 1 hockey movie, Youngblood.
Youngblood.
Rob Lowe.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. He's playing in the amateur ranks. He's real skilled, but he's real little, so he has to learn how to fight, and that's one of my favorite movies.
And he's got attitude issues.
Yeah.
Brother issues.
Yep.
Number 9 for me, 8 Men Out.
Yep.
Story of the Black Sox scandal.
Yeah.
That is, so Ty Cobb's my favorite baseball personality. That story wasn't about Ty Cobb, but it was about that era. Mm-hmm. So, and I love Shoeless Joe Jackson and the whole story of the Black Sox. So that's number 9 for me.
Okay. Number 9 for me was Any Given Sunday. With the names in this movie, Oliver Stone was the director, Al Pacino as the coach, Dennis Quaid, the aging quarterback, Jamie Foxx is Willie Beeman, the up and coming quarterback that takes over for Dennis Quaid. Cameron Diaz was the team owner. So number 9 for me was Any Given Sunday.
That's a good one. I like that one. Number 8, Moneyball.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
I've never even seen it.
It's the.
I know it's about the Oakland A's.
Yes,
and
it's the story of analytics.
Analytics, yeah. But I've never seen it.
It's a good movie. Good movie.
I'll have to watch that
Jonah?
one time.
Jonah Williams? What's his name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He was the analytics guy.
Yep. Yeah, the guy with the curly hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And see, I didn't number mine, so I was kind of screwing myself up here. So my next one was Jerry Maguire. I know you had that as a honorable mention, but it made my list at number 8.
Show me the money.
Yeah, show me the money. Tom Cruise, the sports agent. So you got a baseball trend, and I've got a football trend.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I kind of figured that was going to happen.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked Jerry Maguire too, but I like these movies better.
Right.
So number 7 for me is Remember the Titans.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I've got that at.
I almost moved that one up
10,
higher.
8, 7, 6. I got that at number 5.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
It's integrating black team with a white team. Great movie.
It is a good movie.
Okay, so that was your number 7.
My number 7.
Okay, my number 7 is The Longest Yard.
The original. Which one?
The original.
Thank you.
The original.
I was fixing to dump this popcorn on your head.
The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds. Sandler. Yep. Actually, I like the Adam Sandler version, but not near as good as the original.
I didn't even finish watching it. No. I love that movie. I mean, honestly, it could have. I toyed with it, There was just so many.
Yeah, like I said, this was hard to do.
It was hard to do. Paul Crew. Number 6 for me, Miracle.
I had it on my honorable mention.
And the reason, I mean, the movie itself wasn't, that great.
Right.
But I lived
the
true Miracle. I remember watching it as a kid, and I grew up with.
So that was more of a sentimental, like the Fisher say Pittsburgh making my list.
I mean, just the 80s, in 1980 when we beat Russia, I mean, that was easily, to me, the single greatest sports feat in United States history.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the most lopsided, nobody even thought that was possible.
Yep.
It was great.
Okay, so what are we at, 5 or 6? 6. So my 6 is All the Right Moves. You mentioned it in honorable mention. But yeah, I love that movie.
Okay.
Tom Cruise.
I thought you looked at me like you couldn't even think of it. I was like, what? How can you not remember all that?
I've watched it many times. Yeah. Great movie where he's trying to get out of that steel mill town, and he messes up, goes and trashes the coach's house, and then the coach went from he was going to have all these scholarship offers.
Right.
So now the coach blacklisted him and didn't get any, and then the coach gets a college job and offers him a scholarship in the end. So it was one of my favorite. It's not my number 1 football movie. It's my number 3 football movie, but good movie.
Good one for sure.
Okay.
Number 5 for me, Field of Dreams.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that
is a great movie. It's you're more into the nostalgia baseball, so I see why it made your list and it made my honorable mention. But that's a great.
The book was great too.
Movie.
That's like one of the last books in the world that I've ever read from front to back. I ain't ashamed to admit it.
Right.
I mean, it's just a good story. I love that movie.
All right, like I said earlier, my number 5 was Remember the Titans. So is that the only one we've got the same so far?
I think so, because my number 4 is a football movie.
And Rudy didn't make mine.
Didn't make your list?
I've never even watched that whole movie either.
Really? I love that movie, man. And
well, I've never liked Notre Dame. So.
No, me neither.
So
but watching that movie as many times as I've watched it, and then I got to go to South Bend to a Notre Dame game, and I got to go look. I actually sat on the bench that he sat on when he led his letter of acceptance to Notre Dame, and looked out over that lake. And then
I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to actually see those sites at Notre Dame, and I actually got an appreciation for the history of Notre Dame through that. And so that movie's, I think should be on a top 10 list.
So my number 4 is my number 1 golf movie. That'd be Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Of course, the characters in that, Bill Murray is Carl Spackler, Chevy Chase is Ty Webb, of course Rodney Dangerfield,
Ty Webb,
Ted Knight, Judge Smales. You get a free bowl of soup with that hat.
There's so many quotes. I mean, I still live my life through Caddyshack quotes. And I mean, so many, when you go golfing with the boys, there's always a
we're waiting.
If I can only make this one. There's so many quotes, man. Yeah. It's just.
That's a classic.
That's number 3 for me.
Okay.
I had to boot it to number 3 just because my number 1 and number 2, I wasn't budging.
Yeah. Looks like our number 1s were the same.
Oh, okay. Well, number 2 for me is Karate Kid.
Wait a minute. I didn't get my 3.
I'm sorry.
Because my 4 and your 3 were the same.
Oh, that's right.
So my 3, another football movie. You can tell I'm a big football fan. Friday Night Lights.
I knew you was going to do Friday Night Lights.
Love that movie. I love the TV show that they made off of the movie. But yeah, Billy Bob Thornton. That's just a great movie. So that was my number 3. Was Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I thought of Friday Night Lights. I like it too, but I don't like it as much as my list. But I get it. So obviously number 2 for me, I've already said Karate Kid. That's easily probably my second or third favorite movie of all time. I mean,
it's a good one.
It is. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I love the '80s feel-good movies. The Triumph,
Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off.
And again, so many quotes, so many things I I live my life by so many quotes of Karate Kid. It's ridiculous.
So my number 2, I think you might have had it in honorable mention, but White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Woody Harrelson is Billy Hoyle and Wesley Snipes. There's a couple of Venice Beach street ball hustlers.
Oh, Billy, you're so stupid.
Give him the chump.
Give him the chump.
Yeah, Rosie Perez was great in that.
That's how I felt when we lived in Arkansas, going to play basketball in Blytheville.
Give him the chump.
Give him the chump. Okay, yeah, give him the chump.
Billy, you so stupid.
That was a good movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah, surprisingly, in my top 4, 2 of them were comedies. You would think you would lean a little bit more towards the dramas.
Well, I mean, I thought about, there was some more movies that were considered works of art.
Right.
But that's, to me, this was
like Raging Bull.
Yeah. And like
I want to be entertaining.
Clint Eastwood movie where he was, it was about a baseball movie. I forget what it was called.
When he's a scout.
Yeah, he's a scout. Movies like that, that were acclaimed in Hollywood, but not necessarily on my top 10 list. So anyway, number 1 for me
and me,
it's always going to be the Rockies.
Yeah. I just put Rocky, but really the whole. I started to put every Rocky and even the Creed spinoffs have been pretty good.
Well, to be honest with you, the one Creed is really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, it's the Rocky movies. I mean, that's the first movie my dad ever let me stay up and watch on a school night beyond my curfew, and I instantly fell in love with the Rocky.
Yo,
movies.
Adrian,
it's the best, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. All right, so we both agreed on number 1 at Rocky, and we both agreed 3-4 on Caddyshack.
Yep.
Remember the Titans 5 and 7.
And that's it.
I think that's it. Now we did have a lot,
some overlapping.
Yeah, a lot of what was on my list was in your wanting to mention, and then.
Yeah, I struggled with Bull Durham, and I struggled with when it was a game. When it was a game, Kevin Costner. I mean, that was a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I finally
Major League.
Yeah, which I had that, in
Major League was a good movie, fun movie to watch.
Right. Yeah, no, like I said, I had to just stop at one point. I was like,
The Champ. Remember that one?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Champ was a good movie.
Oh yeah, there's so many. The one that Mark Wahlberg just did about the Boston Marathon.
I haven't seen that, but you mentioned Invincible.
Yeah, Invincible.
That's another good one.
The Vince Papale story.
Yeah.
And there's one that Wesley Snipes did. It was It was like where they were bombing the San Francisco Giants stadium or something like that. I mean, like I said, there's so many sports movies out there, but
I prefer the feel good sports movies. Where you leave with
and like the
victory at the end.
And that's why I like All the Right Moves. Remember the Titans, Friday Night Lights. But then a couple of the comedy ones. I mean, Rocky, you walked out of the movie theater, and if somebody would have bumped you, it'd have been on. You were looking for a fight when you walked out of watching Rocky. And then, like I said, a couple comedy ones up in there. White Men Can't Jump, Caddyshack. So, yeah, it was fun. It was like I said, it was tough.
It was hard. Tough. It was a hard list. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Episode 11.
Yeah, episode 11's in the books. We've actually got 3 Smoke Wagon bourbons waiting for us over at the bar.
Okay.
That we're gonna taste them, and then we will rate that shit. So we'll see y'all at the bar.
4, 3, 2, are you ready?
Welcome to Kolby's Bar, and it's time to rate that shit. Got us a nice lineup in front of us. Kolby, why don't you tell these people?
We've got 3 Smoke Wagon bourbons. And Smoke Wagon is made by the Nevada H&C Distilling Company in Las Vegas, Nevada. Fairly new company. They like to make different types, some uncut, unfiltered type of bourbons, small batch bourbons. They use a lot of rye in their bourbon. It's not pure rye, but one of these
High
that we're going
corn
to try
on it.
tonight. Yeah, one of
Mash
them
bill.
has got like a 36% rye in it. So we're going to rate those. First, why don't you tell them about our rating system?
Sweet. Yeah, we got our own. We consider our own unique rating system, 1 through 4. 1 is just we're not thrilled with it. It doesn't meet our palate. It might meet yours, but it doesn't meet ours. We call that a brown bag. Number 2, it's getting a little bit better, but yeah, it's probably maybe just a stock bourbon that you want to keep on the shelf because you might throw some Coke in it. Whatever. It's a mixer for us. As the bourbon's going up the scale, getting a little bit better, we might want to just dilute it with a rock, and we call that on the rocks.
On the rocks.
And then last but not least, the way I truly think a bourbon should be sipped, and that's neat.
Yep, that's the way it's just enjoy the bourbon and get all those tastes and doesn't need anything at all.
No, that stands on its own.
All right, so like I said, we've got 3 smoke wagons tonight. We're going to start with this first one is just a straight bourbon. It's a $35.
Okay.
It is 92.5 proof.
Affordable with a decent proof.
Yep. It should give you some honey and caramel up front and then some pepper and spice on the back end.
Gotcha.
So
now, North Carolina, these aren't very available.
Hard to find.
These were purchased in Savannah.
We found them in Savannah, Georgia.
Yep. Savannah, Georgia. Secondary market price.
Georgia always seems to have a better selection than North Carolina.
Yeah, if you're in North Carolina and you want to try to find some different bourbons, I suggest just driving some back roads into some small towns. And,
off the beaten path.
Yeah.
If you're near a city, they're going to be wiped out.
Buffalo Trace and some Blantons and some smaller towns.
Got a decent smell to it.
Yeah, got good color. $35. I'm not expecting for it to knock my socks off.
Right. I do get the honey and the caramel. I don't really get the spice and pepper on the back end.
No, it's pretty smooth. It's a pretty smooth
Yeah,
bourbon. I
not
got
bad.
a little bit of hug up front.
A little bit. That's one thing that they claim on their website. You don't get a lot of that alcohol burn with their bourbons. Yeah, I was actually out in Vegas and couldn't find any of it out in Vegas.
Oh, I thought
Not too long ago.
That was pretty much where I've heard of it from.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Vegas.
No, it kind of is newer to the market, and it got a good reputation right out the bat. So a lot of people went out and got it, and it became hard to find.
All right. Well,
That's pretty good.
it's really good. Not a lot of complexity to it. Like it was just kind of
That-
wasn't no thickness to the bourbon
No.
to me. It didn't really hang around, but it's smooth. It's got a really good flavor. I got a little spice on it for me, a little peppery up front, a little caramel nuttiness to it.
Yeah,
Good bourbon.
it is good. I like that.
$35.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with
Yeah.
it for 35. Rate that shit.
For the value, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.
I'm gonna fall in line with you at a 3. I mean, I think
It was delicious, neat.
Yeah, I'll probably drink that neat.
Right, but
You know.
but for our rating
Look at
system,
that.
well, we went to a screensaver.
We've had some technical
difficulties tonight,
with
but
screen mirror,
that's
but-
why the picture and this is for our YouTube viewers.
Yeah.
Spotify doesn't even know what we're talking about.
It's all
But
good. Where
but
are
our
we anyway?
our looks like the boardwalk somewhere.
Yeah, it look like Myrtle Beach, maybe. I don't know. Who cares?
Anyway, so we've had technical difficulties today. We just lost our rating screen behind us, but we will carry on.
We'll
'cause
carry on.
We
That's
we
what
know
we
what
do.
our rating system is,
Yeah.
and we know what our social medias are, so we won't have to.
That's right.
See
We
that.
don't need it.
So anyway,
Good.
you're gonna give that one a 3 also?
I'm gonna go 3. Good,
Yeah.
good value.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
think I personally, if I find this in a store, I'm gonna purchase this particular one, the red, white, and blue
Right.
label on it. It's a pretty stock bourbon bottle, cork on the top. I mean, it's
Yeah, and this
Good bourbon.
next one, which is the small batch high rye, it's got the inlaid coin and some of the raised etching
Yeah.
on the bottle.
That's
So
a
it's
pretty bottle.
It's a real pretty bottle. Now this one is their high rye small batch. So this one is 100 proof, a little bit pricey. This is actually the most expensive of the three we're drinking tonight. This one was 56.
Okay.
There again, it should have some caramel and some fruits. Then with the pepper and the spice on the back end.
Yeah, I get some caramel notes up front.
Yeah, a little.
Got pleasant nose to it. Little leg on it. Little leg on that one. What'd you say the proof was on
100.
this one?
Yeah, I definitely got less burn off of it than I did the straight bourbon that we tasted first.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a rye. What was it? High heavy on the corn?
They didn't. I didn't get the mash bill on this
Okay.
one, but they did. It is considered a high rye.
Okay.
So I would say probably 20% or higher. Like I said, this last one we're going to try, the Uncut the Younger, is 36% rye. I didn't catch the rye amount on this one.
I actually get a little pepperminty from this one on the back end. I'm getting a little peppermint, a little spice.
Yeah. With this having more rye than the small, the small batch having more rye than the straight bourbon. You definitely get
Get more rye from this one. It's more of a lingering taste. There's more of a thickness to the bourbon, complex. I like it. It's for a rye. I really like it actually. Rate that shit. I guess for me, that one's a 3 for me.
I was gonna say it's just as good as the first one. It got a little bit different finish to it.
Yep.
They both start out about the same, but then you catch that rye on the tail end with that one.
Definitely start out very similar on the front end, but on the back end, this one lingers a lot.
But
more.
it's not a super bitter rye.
Oh no,
like some ryes are.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I like the bottle.
All right, so we got 2 threes.
2 threes
From the Smoke Wagon bourbons. All right, so now this last one we're going to do, it's called Uncut the Younger. And the reason it's called the Younger is because the founders of this distillery were looking at possibly pulling the bourbon out of the barrel, before it has fully aged and fully proofed and just doing an uncut, unfiltered. So they've had different variations of their uncuts, and this is their most recent one called the Younger. So it's going to be the strongest one we drank tonight. It's 113.7 proof.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
and this one was recommended to us, right?
Yes. Yep. This one comes highly recommended. This one is aged for 4 years. It's supposed to give you a little fruits and candy on the front side.
Okay.
And then maybe a little cinnamon spice on the back side.
All right. Complex, huh?
It's supposed to be complex. I'm going to cleanse the palate one more time before I...
Not me. I'm diving in, man. I definitely get the... I get the 113. I'm getting the proof in that one.
But it doesn't have that strong burn though.
No, it's very smooth.
Yeah.
It's very smooth.
And like I said, this is the one that had 36% rye. So this is
Yeah, you can definitely these last two I can definitely taste the rye.
yeah, and this one I think has got a little bit more than the second one we tried, the small batch.
I'm torn on that one.
I think of the three, it's my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah. And I didn't mention this one's $48.
See, I'm leaning on
You're-
this.
you're-
Absolutely. It's absolutely my
Leaning
favorite.
that's your favorite one, huh?
I'm almost leaning towards a 4 on that one.
Okay.
I mean, from the mash bill, I know we don't know the full mash bill, but from
Right.
a rye standpoint, that is really, really good.
Yeah, it doesn't really taste like a high rye.
Yeah, for my palate taste, I'm gonna go with a 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3 across the board.
They all got that caramel cinnamon
Yeah, I mean, I got more. I got more of the spicy from them.
This one's definitely the spiciest of the three. This Uncut the Younger.
But I tend to lean more towards liking a rye than you do.
Yes.
So for my personal palate, this one is an absolute. This is an absolute must. I mean, I was leaning towards a 4, but I don't know that I could ever put a rye on my list of.
I mean, the 4s that we've got so far, you're looking at Chicken Cock, Willet, and the Jefferson's Ocean.
Yeah.
So, would you put that with those, or just a notch below?
Just a notch below. But if I'm in a bar and that is up there, and there's like I don't know, Woodford.
Oh yeah.
Up there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm going with that one, man. That was really good flavor.
All 3 of them, I was impressed. I didn't really know what to expect.
Well, I think for the money, this is a very good value for the name, because I can only speak for North Carolina people. This is a hard bourbon to get a hold of locally. Mm-hmm. So if you get it and add it to your collection, it's definitely worth the purchase. I think they're very good bourbons. This is a very good bourbon for $35.
Yeah, I enjoyed all 3 of them. I really did. So I'm glad we had 3 threes.
3 threes. That's a good night.
Yeah, that is. I don't know that we've ever.
No, it's a good
done
night
that,
when we have 3.
And
3
different
really
price
good.
points. You had the 35, you had the 48, and the 56. So close in price, but they actually fall into different categories.
Cool.
So
good night.
I think that wraps up episode 11. We had a lot of fun doing it. We got to talk about some of our favorite sports movies and talk NFL and college football, which we love to do anyway. We always like to talk that. So, next week we'll film episode 12. Hopefully, the Mallard Duck is going to have some picks for us.
We're counting on you.
And we'll have those. We'll have those ahead of the episode. Of course, if we can get some before the games kick off this week,
it'd be a nice little piece to the podcast. Yeah. Start, giving out some picks.
Especially if he maintains that success rate.
Yeah, I mean, even if he stumbles a little bit, I mean,
you look at the guys on TV and. If they hit 50%, they're happy.
Oh, he's way ahead of them. I mean, he beat the Bear.
Yeah, exactly.
He beat the Bear, and then he went with some off the wall, like not your common picks.
Exactly. He a little off the grid. I'm impressed.
I am too.
I was super impressed. I was following along as the games were being played. I had his picks on my phone, and I was like, he got that one. And then I got to the end, and I was like. He hit all 5 of the ones he said. So I was impressed.
We go way back.
Okay, so hopefully we'll make that a recurring little
it'll be good
little segment on the show. The Mallard Duck picks and
well, next week what are we gonna touch on next week?
Well, next week, of course, we're gonna open with a toast. We don't know what that is yet, but we'll open with a toast. Then we're gonna come in hot with some current events. Hopefully, we don't have to talk about any dirt bags that are disrespecting people.
Seems like that's out and about.
Yeah, not what I wanted when we decided to start this podcast, but it's current events. It's something that gets people talking.
That's right. Maybe Judge will hit number 62.
Yeah, and
be nice.
Yeah, if he can get another one in the next couple of days. I don't know what he did tonight, but then he'll probably be on the toast list again. Yeah. Like I said, we'll toast, come in hot with current events. We'll talk football again, NFL, college. We're going to, at the end of our college segment, we'll, like we talked about earlier, throw some Heisman hype out there. Who we like.
Early Heisman
list. Of course, whoever's the favorite in September and October usually doesn't win it. It's usually decided in November and December. But it's still fun to throw some names out there.
Perhaps we're better than all them other dudes before us. We know what we're talking about.
Perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got Colby's bar bugged.
Yeah, it does seem like what we talk about. I mean, last
week when I said that Evan Neal's new nickname was the Turnstile?
No, they didn't use that.
I'm riding to work the next morning, and Max Kellerman calls Evan Williams the Turnstile.
Nah, I don't believe it.
I'm searching the ceilings for a bug because it seems like it never fails.
Doesn't surprise me. That's the main reason we started this podcast, because we are geniuses. I ain't gonna lie to you. We're smarter than the average Joe. You know, I'm serious. I ain't lying to you, but you know, those people that know me know I've never been too humble.
And then the final topic we'll hit on next week. MLB, you know, we talked a little bit about, but playoffs will be starting next week.
That's right.
And so we'll talk about the matchups, who we like, and you know, get some.
Can the Mets pull their pants up and recover from the sweep? The Braves own the Mets. They own the Mets. Can the Mets recover?
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's gonna be interesting.
Pitching's a little weak going into the playoffs for them.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on how healthy Scherzer and DeGrom are. You know, because with them, that's two studs. Without them, they're not very deep.
That's right. Cool.
So, and then we'll be back over here and.
Shit, I ain't got nothing to toast with.
Pour you some more of that because I know you liked it.
Yeah, give me some of that smoke wagon. I ain't gonna pour a whole lot because some of us got to work in the morning. Sweet, good show.
So yeah, enjoyed it.
Enjoy.
So we'll see y'all next week, and check us out on all socials.
Oh yeah, that's right. YouTube.
Yeah, we don't have our cheat sheet behind us.
Yeah,
so.
we got Instagram, YouTube,
Spotify, Apple,
TikTok, Spotify, Apple.
Email us.
Bourbon Buzzed and Ballin PR@gmail.com.
Yep. So
make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the like
button.
button.
Send us emails because, you know, like I said, Mr. Mallard sent us an email, and now he's part of the show.
We're gaining steam.
You know,
we're
Fireman Peyton. You know, we're probably going to do a TikTok with him when we're up in Knoxville in a couple of weekends. And, you know, hey, we're having fun.
We're coming after some people. We're coming after some people.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you next week.